right, I'm going to take you through how to access your weekly engagement tracking document through Google Classroom, and then how to complete your documentation so that you can submit it at the end of the school year. So the first thing is you need to join your Google Classroom class. You should see something titled CDE Weekly Engagement Tracker. So we're going to go ahead and click the Join button. And once I'm in that class, I'm going to navigate over to the Classwork tab. Here in the Classwork tab, the first thing I'm going to notice is that there's some help documents up at the top that I can come back to if I ever need to access them. And under Weekly Engagement Tracking, I'm going to see the tracker that has been loaded for me. I'm going to click on the assignment in Google Classroom and select View Assignment, and over on to the right I'm going to see my work, and I'm going to go ahead and open my copy of the Weekly Engagement Tracker. It does take a couple minutes to load. I want to wait until I see that all of the links have been loaded, and I'm going to see it separated out by quarter. Whether I'm secondary or elementary, I'm going to see on my table of contents that it is organized by quarters. And that part is I'm not going to worry about. The first thing that we have to do, and we'll see that we don't have to do any documentation for August or the first 3 weeks in September. But I have to begin by setting up my classes. So up at the top, I see where it says Complete the Course Setup tab. That's my first step. I can access that either from this link or from the tab down at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and access it from the link. And I'm going to open my Course Setup tab. And here's where I'm going to make a selection based on what I teach. So if I'm a kindergarten or KA, I'm going to make the first selection. Elementary grades 1 through 6, the second. Secondary grades 7 through 12, the third selection. Now, a couple of exceptions. If I am a K1 combo teacher, I'm going to select grades 1 through 6. That gives me the maximum number of minutes so that I make sure I'm meeting those state guidelines. If I am a 6 through 8 teacher, I'm going to select secondary 7 through 12. Essentially for that same reason. I'm going to go ahead and select secondary. There's a little bit more involved in this one than there is in the elementary. And when I make that selection, I'm going to see some rows display. Now, if I had selected elementary, the rows would be different because elementary does not have different classes rostered to them in Elluminate. So I would only see a small selection if I had elementary. And on elementary, all I need to do is select my lesson plan format, put in the name of my Seesaw or Google Classroom, or a link to an electronic lesson plan format if I have it in a different location. So let's look now at secondary, because it's a little bit harder on this first page. If I teach secondary, I have to put in the name of the courses that I teach. So let's say I teach Math 1, and I'm going to notice it pre-slugs for Semester 1 and Semester 2. Then I need to select what period numbers I teach Math 1 and my primary lesson plan format. So let's say, and then I need to put in my Google Classroom name. So Math 1, period 1, Math 1, period 2. Now, I don't need to do the electronic format if my work is in Google Classroom. If I also teach a second course, let's say I teach economics the first semester. The second semester, though I don't teach econ, I teach government. So I'm just going to change the name there. Now I want the name to be the same as it is in Elluminate, so I'm going to double check my names in Elluminate if I'm not sure what they are. So then I'm going to next select the periods that I teach that class, and again it's going to preload for both. I'm going to ignore that error message. My classes are in Google Classroom, and now I'm going to put in my Google Classroom name, Econ, period 3, and second semester it becomes Gov period 3 if I created a new class, maybe. So I'm just going to put in both. So my course setup now is completed. If I have additional courses, I continue adding them down at the bottom. Okay. So let's go back now to the table of contents and let's see what happens next. So now I'm ready to start inputting data, and we're going to practice on the sample tab. So I'm going to navigate to the sample tab by clicking on the link. Opens the sample tab. And here I see Math 1 and Economics. My classes are already preloaded for me. My lesson plans are stored in Google Classroom. So for indicating my lesson plans, I'm simply going to type C Google Classroom. And that never changes, so I'm going to copy it down into the next row. In fact, that's the same place for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This first week is completed now. The only thing I have left to do is add my signature. The signature goes down here in the weekly signature and date box. So I'm going to select that box. I will have pre-filled out a piece of paper with my signature and the date on it. There's a template for that saved in the Google Classroom materials if you need a template to write on. To add that now, I'm going to go ahead and select that box that says weekly signature and date. And for the first set of items, I can use the same signature over and over again. But once we get into the ongoing from the week of January 13th, then you're going to have a new one for each week. So I'm going to select the box. For my weekly signature, it goes in the yellow box. I'm going to go Insert, Image, and I want to put the image right in that cell. And I'm going to do it using my camera. So here I am, I'm on my camera. I'm going to hold my signature up to the camera, get it as straight as I possibly can, and then I'm going to hit the space bar. I'm going to select Insert, and it's going to drop my signature right into that cell. So now I'm going to notice that Signature Complete has turned green. I have an image of my signature in the cell, and all of my engagement is filled out. If I return back to the table of contents, and I can get there from the link at the top or the tab at the bottom, I'm going to see now that the number of days to finish has become 0, and sample has turned green because I have completed the signature. If I didn't complete the signature, I'm going to go back and remove that just for demonstration purposes. If its signature is not done, the writing will be red. So I'll see a red highlight in that box, even though the number of days to finish has been completed. Once that signature is added, then the box turns green. When all of your boxes have turned from yellow to green, you know you're done. These that are exempt here in the early part will remain yellow. Once it's done, we'll go through at the end of the year how to download it as a PDF and then upload it to the final copy spot in Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please submit a ticket through the Tech Hub and we will get back to you and help you through it. Take care.